Bob, Kim, thank you so much
Hi, Emmanuel.
for a few minutes. Bob, let me get this out of the way. Are you really the voice of Roz from Monsters Inc? Because that is so cool. Sorry, I just had to ask.
Yeah, I'm the voice. It's
Oh
funny.
man.
As I get older, I sound a little more like Roz as I get older, and I can only do so much Roz because it erases my ability to do Doug. Doug starts sounding like a hybrid Roz Doug monster.
But yeah, no, we love Doug, so let's go ahead and keep that voice instead. Doug Days, such Doug is so lovable. In your own words, and also Kim as well, I want to hear from both of you. What makes Doug so special?
Well, I think it starts from a base that we all love our dogs and our cats and our pets. And I think there's something about a dog that just we have a big heart for them. And the reason is because they're so pure and sincere and sweet, and they walk up to you and wag their tail. And I think that's why people like Doug. He's just sweet and sincere with a little bit of wolf. He wants the squirrels dead, but he would never hurt a squirrel at the end of the day. But we see our dogs in Doug, and he's such a sweetheart. Kim, what do you think?
I have nothing to add. I would have said all of the same
Oh, sure.
There's a specific moment where in the show that I just it warmed my heart so much. It's the one with the sandwich, and there's the bird and the squirrel, and they're all like guilting him, and it's like, well, you have a house, and like you could just see him kind of coward. I was like, oh, Doug, this is your sandwich, let them be. But he's so pure that he decides to give it to both of them. So I 100% agree with you. I want to ask, how long has this show been in development? Maybe how long have you had this idea to bring Doug to at least the short?
I pitched it, I don't know, 3 years ago, but I got started writing in mid to late 19. And then we started storyboarding and recording in early 20, and then did our layout, animation, lighting during the pandemic from home. So, but I pitched it a while ago to our president as just kind of putting on a nice warm sweater. It's like Doug is just this gentle soul, and it might bring some smiles to people. And so it's been around for a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. It has that feel of a dog come when you come home and your dog kind of jumps up on you and lets you know that you're loved and wanted. One of the most iconic things I find about Up, obviously, is the score, the music,
Yeah.
and you guys were able to use it in this series, and it relates a little bit closer to Doug's emotions, which I thought was like super creative and great. Kim, do you want to talk a little bit about the music in Doug Days?
Oh, yes, I love talking about the music. So Up is a very well-known, very well-loved score by Michael Giacchino. And it's so that in and of itself, it's like, well, what do you do with that? We're just a small little streaming project. And the cool thing is that Michael Giacchino himself, he's such a friend of Pixar. We have such a great relationship just with him, everyone at the studio to this day. And so when we made him aware of it, he said, well, there are people on my team that could probably really do some great work for you. So we had to honor Up. We had to have Doug Days be its own thing. And then the third thing is, each of the 5 episodes, each of the 5 short films, we wanted them to have their own little tone, their own little vibe. So they had to be a little bit separate from each other. So when we met with Andrea Datzman, the composer, we said, all right, we need a little bit of familiarity with Up. We need all these are the themes for each of the 5 different episodes. And of course, they all need to work together as a whole that's a little bit independent from Up. Go. So, and she did an amazing job. She worked with another collaborator, Curtis Green, and they just really hit everything that we asked for. It was amazing.
How important was it? Was it challenging at all to try and keep the dialogue kind of very, very, I wouldn't say minor, but what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of basic in order to keep Doug's language, especially now that we're focusing on his character.
Yeah, I mean, I've grown an ear for that now, where, you know, if Doug were to say, and likewise, I would like to similarly, you know, it's like, no, this is a simple way of speaking. And so I always had my ear on that. And I'm fiercely protective of that simplistic dog-like pattern of speech, you know. And so every now and then we would slip and do something that just felt too complicated, and generally it's just a matter of editing it down to its bare minimum.
Okay, yeah, it works. I love Doug. Just noticed that Doug on your corner of your screen came out.
Oh, yes.
I want to ask, was it always also did you guys pitch around any ideas of the timeline, maybe going a little bit farther away from the film, or was it always meant to be directly after the film?
These were always meant to be directly after. We wanted to sort of make it before the credits, even, where like you see Doug with his own puppies, and like the puppies that show up in our puppies episode are not his. And so, you know, it was always meant to be right afterwards. It's funny, I didn't consider anything else. I just thought that would be the way to go. If we got too far away, then Russell would grow up, and you know, you don't want to, I don't know, that just seemed too jarring to have Russell as a grown-up. I like to maintain that continuity with who we knew from the former feature.
Speaking of Russell growing up, the voice actor did grow up a little bit. Kim, what are the challenges in getting some of those lines now that his voice has significantly changed?
Oh, yes, he is an adult man now, Jordan, the guy. So he is in college and basically could not do a Russell performance. What you hear in Science, Bob actually went back with editorial team to the original Up recordings and started mining and finding all these little gems from when Jordan did those original recordings for Up, and just pulled out anything that would match what you had, what Bob had initially just sort of written in for the character, and sometimes found even better lines than were written.
Yeah, that little song he sings in that one episode, I didn't write that. And I talked to Pete Docter about that. It's like, why didn't we use that in Up? It's so charming. And so we decided to use it. But, you know, if we used the same actor today, he'd be like, hello, Mr. Ferguson, how are you?
Yeah.
And I love the idea that it's right after Up and you got the same voices for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of an experiment, actually.
Adds a little bit of that nostalgic feel. You know, the one thing I'm going to wrap this conversation with this is I was expecting at some point during that series for a head to pop over that fence. I'm talking about Kevin. I was really hoping he would just pop up. And any Kevin in our future, maybe a short, anything you could.
Well, maybe. I mean, you know, you never know. People love Kevin. Kevin's such a great character, especially when he's babying Russell and Russell's climbing around on him. And you never know. I mean, it just felt like too much to bring him along because she is watching after her babies on the Tepui. But, you know, you never know.
Bob, Kim, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for bringing back Doug and that Up world that I love so much, and so many others do too. We hope to see you again.
All right. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.